Yes, a very good evening to all of you. Hi, Madhav. Good evening. Yes, I will try to keep most of my discussion in English only. A very warm welcome to all of you, dear students. Okay, so welcome to the first revision lecture. Hi, Kirthana. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. So, welcome to the first revision lecture for CA Inter, Corporate, and Other Laws. Now, what I have planned for you is that we are going to meet every evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Okay, we'll meet for 1 hour, and 7 o'clock should be your law revision time. Okay, so every day we will meet at 7 and we will revise law for 1 hour. So, the entire day you can continue studying whichever subject that you want. लेकिन 7 o'clock हम मिलेंगे for law revision. अच्छा, रैपिड रिविजन का प्लान किया है मैंने इस बार. रैपिड रिविजन मीन्स दैट वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स फॉर एग्जाम. देखो छोटे छोटे कॉन्सेप्ट्स होते हैं विच दे आर नॉट आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम या दे आर वेरी सिंपल, यू डोंट नीड टू रिवाइज देम. बट जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है जिसमें मुझे लगता है दैट यू विल फेस कन्फ्यूजन, दोज कॉन्सेप्ट आई विल कवर इन क्लास. एंड आई हैव ऑल्सो प्लान टू डेडिकेट लास्ट 15 minutes of every video to question answer discussion, because that is something which we are lacking. So whatever questions are based on the discussion, we will discuss that. And last 15 minutes में हम सिर्फ question answer discuss करेंगे. तो I will pick up questions from the module, from my compiler. My compiler is a question bank containing all past exam study material, RTP, MTP questions arranged unit wise. तो ऐसे क्वेश्चन आंसर डिस्कशन वी विल डू इट इन द लास्ट 15 minutes. ओके, दैट इज माई प्लान. नाउ टुडे डिपेंडिंग ऑन अवर डिस्कशन, मुझे अभी देखते हैं हम कितना कंप्लीट कर पाते हैं. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट फ्रॉम टुमारो आई विल स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग अ टाइम टेबल एंड आई विल ऑल्सो शेयर दैट टाइम टेबल विद यू कि भाई ये मेरा टाइम टेबल है, दिस इज वॉट आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस इन दिस वीक, सो दैट यू ऑल्सो आर प्रिपेयर्ड, यू रिवाइज बिफोर द लेक्चर. तो आपको पता होगा कि दैट ट्यूजडे, वेनसडे, थर्सडे, फ्राइडे हम क्या डिस्कस करने वाले. You can also prepare for yourself and then attend the lectures. Bacha, just a few announcements to be made before we begin with the lecture. The notes that you can see on the screen are from my chart book. This is the CA Inter Law chart book, and it is like a summary. Okay, these are summary notes. Here you will find that the entire module is covered in just 33 pages. It's colorful, it's attractive. You will be able to remember all this in the exam. It covers all the head points, section numbers, few important things that I feel that you should know and remember for the exam. So this is how we are going to study. I will be studying with the help of my chart book. You can purchase this chart book from my website. I will also share a link of my website. I have very recently launched the CA Inter Fast Track Lectures for students who wish to cover the entire syllabus in a limited period of time. अभी भी आपके पास 2 महीने हैं. It is still possible to cover the entire subject in just 40 hours. Okay, so I have tried to cover the entire subject. I'll just share a link of my website. You can visit the website for the compiler, chart book, and the revision lectures, fast track lectures. I will share that with you. Just a minute. Yes. This is my website, 𝗟𝗲masterslearning.com. We have recently launched fast track lectures in Hindi English mix as well as 100% English. So you have language option. आप 2 languages में वो lectures देख सकते हो. आपकी choice है आपको lectures English में purchase करने हैं या Hindi English mix में. Fast track lectures are available on my website. Question bank, that is a compiler which contains all past exam study material, RTP questions. They are also available on my website. Chart book can be purchased from my website 𝗟𝗲masterslearning.com. तो एक बार visit जरूर करना. Yes, Madhav, I have shared a link of my website. You can visit 𝗟𝗲masterslearning.com. I will share it again for you, Madhav. Chart book is an excellent book. मैं आपको बताऊंगी how you are supposed to use that chart book. See, the main reason, मतलब मैंने क्या सोच के chart book बनाई थी. And yes, Bubbly is using the chart book and वो उसी में से revise करती है. So the thing is that whenever you study a particular chapter, let's say you're studying for 2 hours, for 2 days, sorry. So 2 days, yes. Yes, Abhiram, I am getting many requests for covering the entire syllabus in English only, and be assured The revision is going to be in maximum 80% of the times I will speak in English only. The reason is that even the Hindi speaking audience should remember that your paper is to be written in English. If you listen in English, you understand in English, you will be able to write well in the exam. So yes, 80% of my lecture is going to be in English only. So this chart book, if you're studying the chapter for 2 days, okay, so you will revise a chapter, let's say you're revising it for 2 days. So for those 2 days, the charts should be in front of you. Whenever you study and you raise your head, you should be able to see the chart. It should be on your study table. Keep reading it. Those words, when they hit you, every time that you study, every time that you lift your head, those words should be read, and I'm telling you students, they will be engraved in your mind till the exam. And in the exam, you will use your photographic memory and visualize these charts, and then you will remember me that, ma'am, yes, you were right, that it is that we are able to visualize all this in the exam, and those words, okay, those words, those keywords are there in our mind, and we are able to frame the sentences in our own words. All right. Yes. So today we are going to start with the Indian Contract Act 1872, and we are going to study the first unit, that is indemnity and guarantee. Chart book, I repeat students, can be purchased from my website 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗺learning.com, and we have express delivery. So don't worry that you will get the chart book late. How will you study? You may miss these lectures. No, we have express delivery. The couriers reach in 2 to 3 days and sometimes maximum 4 days. If you request me, I will send it through express delivery to your location so that it reaches you well in time and you can start studying before the exam. In my fast track lectures, we have lectures in the fast track mode. You can purchase in Hindi English mix or English language, and you will get the full textbook. Okay, even though lectures are fast track, but I am giving you a full textbook. You need to refer only my notes for the exam. No need to open the module. The notes are comprehensive. They cover the entire module in simple, easy language along with question answers. Okay. The compiler contains the full length question answers. Answers are as expected by ICAI. Full length answers are covered in the compiler. So this is the material that you will find on my website 𝗟𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗺learning.com. From tomorrow, I will also share a timetable on my WhatsApp group. If you have not yet joined the WhatsApp group, I will leave a link in the description box. Later you can join the WhatsApp group, the CA Inter Doubt Solving group. I will post a timetable on my website as well as in that group so that you know what we are going to revise on a particular day. Okay, so let's begin on this note. Let us begin with the first unit, that is contract of indemnity and guarantee. This is a rapid revision. I'm going to refer only those concepts which are important for exam, and in the last 15 minutes of this video I'm going to discuss important questions that I have identified from my compiler. Those will be sections on which questions are asked very frequently in the exam. Okay, so without wasting any time, students, let's jump on to the first concept. In a contract of indemnity and guarantee, we will cover sections 124 to 147. Do you need to memorize these sections? Unfortunately, yes, because they are important for exam. But if you feel that, ma'am, it is not possible for me to memorize all the sections, and I would advise you to at least memorize sections relating to discharge of surety. If you don't have the chart book today, you can purchase it from my website. Otherwise, for today's lecture, you can refer the module. Keep a notebook with you so that you write whatever important things that I'm asking you to write. A very good evening to all my dear students. Everybody has wished me, but I did not get time to reply to them. Welcome to the first lecture. Let's make it as interesting and as interactive as possible. I will keep asking you questions. Make sure that you participate, because that is the only way you can revise and memorize this subject till the exam. Okay, so participate, answer my questions, and you will start loving this subject. At the end of these revision sessions, you will tell, ma'am, law is my favorite subject now. Okay, so today, for today's lecture, keep writing whatever I highlight. Write it in your notebook so that you know what are the important aspects from a particular chapter. Even if you don't want to memorize all the sections, at least memorize the sections relating to discharge of surety. That is important for exam. Now, what is indemnity? Indemnity means to make good the loss. It means to compensate. There are two parties in a contract of indemnity. We have the indemnifier and the indemnity holder. Indemnifier is the person who promises to make good the loss, and the person whose loss is to be made good is known as the indemnified or the indemnity holder. So there are only two parties in a contract of indemnity, whereas there are three parties in the contract of guarantee. Should we memorize the definition of indemnity? It's not necessary, because very rarely questions are asked on indemnity. So you need not memorize the definition, but yes, the definition is covered under section 124 of the Indian Contract Act. Now, what is indemnity? Indemnity is to make good the loss. The best example is insurance. Now, we purchased an insurance policy and the insurance company promises to make good our loss. So we pay premium, we get policy from them. We are the indemnified, that is the indemnity holder, and the person who makes good the loss is the indemnifier. So there are two parties. Yes, good evening, Sunny, Satvik. Welcome to the first revision lecture. So do we need to memorize the definition? As I was telling you, very rarely questions are asked on indemnity. So you need not memorize the definition. Parties to indemnity not required. Do we need to memorize rights of the indemnity holder? Students, I'm following the same sequence as it is given in the module, in the study material. So even if you don't have the chart book today, you can follow the study material. The flow is same. Do we need to memorize the rights of indemnity holder? Yes. So please mark this as important in your study material. Rights of the indemnity holder. Indemnity holder means a person whose loss is to be made good. Now, section 125 allows the indemnity holder to recover the following amounts. Now, let's say, for example, I'm taking the example of this insurance contract. X paid premium to the insurance company and obtained an insurance policy. So in case fire occurs, X will be able to claim whatever was promised by the indemnifier, that is the insurance company. So insurance company will compensate him by giving the sum assured. So let's say that he paid a premium of 10,000 rupees for a 10 lakh insurance policy. If fire occurs, insurance company will pay 10 lakhs. Now this 10 lakh will cover the damages which have been incurred by X. Now what are the damages? The goods are destroyed. Not only the goods, but the factory is also destroyed. The electrical work is burnt. So these damages are covered in 10 lakh rupees. We will also be able to recover all the costs which he may have been compelled to pay in filing a suit. For this, I have another example for you. Okay, so in this case, let us say that C gave loan to B. This example is in your study material also. C gave loan to B and B gave that same amount to A. B tells A, C, मुझे पे कर देना हा टाइम पे, because तू मुझे repayment करेगा, only then I will be able to pay the amount to C, and if I don't repay the amount to C, he will file a case against me. A says, अरे don't worry, if C files a case against you, मैं हूं ना, मैं देख लूंगा, I will cover all your losses, तू tension मत ले. Now, in this example, can you identify for me indemnifier कौन है और indemnity holder कौन है? First, identify and tell me who is the indemnifier. Yes, tell me. Krishna, yes, you can attend the revision lectures. No problem. Hi, Nitin. Good evening. Yes, everyone, I have asked a question. Can you identify for me? Hi, Krishnan. Good evening. Yes, can you identify for me who is the indemnifier and who is the indemnity holder? Abhiram, in CA Inter, I think we should stick to the subject that we are a master of. So for me, it is currently law. Other subjects are also available. You can buy it from my website. Abhiram, I'm waiting for your order. Yes. Okay. So, Bubbly has answered, who is the indemnifier? In this case, the indemnifier is A. Okay, so A is the indemnifier, and B. Who is B? B is the, correct, He is the indemnity holder. Students, please answer because this is how you will revise the concepts properly. So B is the indemnity holder. Now in this case, what if A fails to pay the loan to B? Obviously, C will file a case against B. Now, in this case, B will tell A that C, you didn't pay the money to me. C ने मेरे पे केस कर दिया. I have to incur the costs in defending myself. I paid the lawyer. I paid the court charges. I paid other costs. I incurred a lot of cost incurred in fighting the case. Lawyers' fees, court charges, etc. were incurred. Pay that money to me. I was also made to pay him damages. Now, do you remember we had studied in breach of contract that the contract price is 100 rupees, but if the contract was breached, you had to purchase it from the market at 120 rupees. So 20 rupees which you paid extra are the damages. तो अगर कोई damages हैं, जैसे यहाँ पर C ने B को बोला, अरे you did not make the payment on time, I suffered special damages. You knew about the circumstances. You knew it was important for me to make for you to make the payment on time. Whatever damages have been claimed by C, B can claim everything from A. So B can claim the damages which he has paid, the cost which he has incurred in defending himself, all the sums which he had to pay. This sum will include the principal amount, the interest amount. In short, whatever B was made to pay to C can be recovered from A. तो A मना नहीं कर सकता, अरे मैं तो सिर्फ प्रिंसिपल या इंटरेस्ट ही दूंगा. नहीं, तूने मेरे को टाइम पे पेमेंट नहीं की, मेरे पे केस हो गया, C ने जो भी मेरे से रिकवर किया है, I will recover all that from A. So A is liable for the damages, for costs and other sums. So this is the right of the indemnity holder, section 125. There are other features also which you need to remember, that the contract of indemnity may be either expressed or implied. Expressed means it is expressed by words, oral or written. Implied means it is understood from our action. इस पे questions नहीं आते हैं. ये बहुत important है. Yes, we will discuss this. Rapid revision, and I'm covering the concepts which are important for exam. This is important for exam. Liability of indemnifier commences as soon as the liability of the indemnity holder becomes absolute and certain. Now, what is the meaning of this? Students, considering the same example, I'll write it over here again. Let's say that, okay, I'll change the example a little. X told Y, अरे तू बहुत डरता है यार, इतना क्यों घबरा रहा है? Go, file case against Z. Y is very scared कि अरे if I file case against Z and what if I lose and I'm made to pay damages? अरे don't worry, मैं हूं ना, मैं compensate करूंगा तेरे को. जा तू Z पे case file कर. Go and file case against Z. So Y files a case against Z, but unfortunately he loses the case and the court asks him to pay 25,000 rupees as compensation to Z. Now, the damages have been ascertained. Question arises, when can Y claim those damages from X? See, there are two options. Either Y pays the damages first and then recovers it from X, or he tells X that, see, I am made to pay 25,000 rupees as damages, you give me the money. From these two scenarios, okay, you tell me what is the best way to recover the loss. In the first situation, first we will ask Y to pay and then recover it from X, or should we tell as soon as the damages are ascertained, Y go and recover it from X and then pay it to Z? Which situation is the most apt? Which situation is ideal for the indemnity holder in this case? First or second? Yes, Mohit, this can be available. This lecture can be viewed later also. You offline भी मिलेगा ये. Offline sense recorded भी मिलेगा. Yes. Yes, Madhuram, we are going to discuss all the important concepts for exam. Okay. Very good, Bubbly. You were the first one to answer. The situation 2 is correct, is the ideal. Situation B जो आपने लिखा है, second situation. No, Kirthana, not the first situation. Komal, correct answer, second situation. Madhav, no, not the first situation, second situation. अगर मैं y को बोलूं that first you pay and then recover it from X, if he had the capacity to pay, why would he take the contract of indemnity? Why would he be scared in the first place to file a case? You cannot burden Y, you will recover it from X and then pay it to Z. So liability of the indemnifier, in this case that is X, in my example X, it commences as soon as the liability of the indemnity holder, in my example Y, becomes absolute and certain. As soon as the court has decided that 25,000 rupees has to be paid, indemnity holder will quickly go to the indemnifier and say, see, the liability is certain, you pay me money, and then he will pass it on to the third party. Your law says you cannot burden the indemnity holder with this liability. Okay, when the liability becomes absolute. Bubbly, you have watched my earlier lectures and you are able to remember all the concepts that you have studied in my lecture. Very good, I'm proud of you. Okay, contract of insurance is also covered in the contract of indemnity. This is generally asked as a 2-mark question. My revision is going to be totally exam oriented. In this revision you will come to know कौन से provision पे क्या type का question आता है, कितने weightage का question आता है. So this is generally a 2-mark question. They will ask as either correct, incorrect or comment. Okay, contract of insurance is also covered. Now, contract of insurance is not covered as per the definition, because if you read the definition, it says that contract of indemnity is a contract in which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him either by the conduct of the promisor himself or by the conduct of any other person. So the definition is very narrow in its scope. Definition covers only that loss which is incurred due to the fault of a person. It does not cover the losses which arise naturally due to natural causes like earthquake, floods, etc. But applying the principles of good faith, justice, we say that even though the definition is very narrow in its scope, it does not cover the contracts where loss is caused due to natural causes, but by applying the principles of good faith, justice, equality, equity, we say that even insurance contracts are contracts of indemnity. Okay, so yes, even though it is not covered by the definition, but it is still considered as a contract of indemnity. So this is asked as a 2-mark question. Next, let us discuss the contract of guarantee. सबसे पहले we have the definition of a contract of guarantee. Now, do you need to remember the definition? See, definition is to be written only when essential elements are asked in the exam. If they ask you what are the essential elements of guarantee, only then you need to write. But that is very rarely asked in the exam. So you may at one point decide not to cover the definition. But anyways, we are revising, so let us go through the definition. It is a contract to perform the promise made or discharge the liability incurred by a third person in case of his default. To simplify this, the debtor has entered into contract with the creditor. The creditor is very doubtful. उसको लगता है ये debtor पैसा नहीं देगा. So he is very doubtful. I don't want to enter into contract with you. But the debtor says, don't worry, in case I am not able to pay, my friend S will pay. S gives guarantee to the creditor. Arey creditor, don't worry, if the debtor does not pay, I will pay. In this case, the person who is giving guarantee is known as the surety. The person to whom the guarantee is given is the creditor, and the person on whose behalf the guarantee is given is the principal debtor. Now, why is this person known as the principal debtor and why not just the debtor? See, when the debtor defaults, surety has to pay. So at some point of time, the surety also acts like a debtor. So how will I distinguish between the person whose primary liability it is? So we say that the original debtor is the principal debtor and S is the surety. Okay, so this is just to identify the parties in the contract. So a contract to perform the promise made or to discharge a liability incurred by a third person in case of his default. So we are promising to pay the liability incurred by debtor if he defaults. This is the contract of guarantee. There are 3 parties: debtor, creditor and surety. This will not be asked in the exam. Parties involved. In essential elements, the first essential elements that it is a tripartite agreement. Tri means 3. Okay, so this is an agreement between 3 parties. Is this asked in the exam? Yes, it is asked as a multiple choice question. Okay, multiple choice question, or it can be asked as a 1 mark question that it is a tripartite agreement. You will say yes, it is a correct statement. It is an agreement between the debtor, creditor and surety. So it is an agreement between 3 parties. The other essential element is that you need the consent of all the parties. Now over here I require the consent of all the parties. Why? Debtor, creditor know each other, but creditor doesn't know the surety. How can he accept him? So law says only when each of them consent, then it will be a valid contract of guarantee. So the creditor is consenting to surety giving guarantee on behalf of the debtor. So debtor, creditor and surety, they need to give their consent for this guarantee. Guarantee can be given only for an existing promise enforceable by law. Okay. Yes, Yash has asked a doubt. So, whom will the debtor sue first? No. Let us go through the sequence now. Let us go through the sequence. What will happen in this case? Debtor has entered into contract with the creditor. Surety gives guarantee. So the creditor will first go to the debtor. In case the debtor defaults, then the creditor will go to the surety. Surety will pay money and then he will recover it from the debtor. Okay. So there are 3 parties, there are 3 contracts. One is between the debtor and the creditor. This is the primary contract. There is another contract between the surety and creditor. There is a third contract between surety and the debtor. So this is the main or the primary contract. These are secondary contracts or the other or ancillary contracts. So creditor will first go to the debtor. If the debtor defaults, then creditor will go to the surety. Surety will pay and then later on recover it from the debtor. So we need the consent of all the parties. So debtor will not sue first, creditor will sue the debtor, Yash. Okay, guarantee can be given only for an existing promise enforceable by law. Let me discuss an example for this. I'll write it over here. Debtor obtained goods from the creditor. Okay, he obtained goods from the creditor. Let's say the goods are of value 10 lakh rupees. S acts as a surety. He has given guarantee. Now, in case the debtor defaults, creditor will hold the surety liable. In this case, the guarantee is valid. But what if I make certain changes? Creditor sold goods to the debtor. This debt has become time barred. It's been 3 years, debtor has not paid the money. Then the surety gives guarantee to the creditor that in case the debtor does not pay, I will pay. You have to tell me, is the guarantee valid? Okay, the guarantee was given after 3 years. You tell me, is the guarantee valid? Yes or no? Creditor can sue the surety directly, that we are going to study next. That because there is a contract, Yash, the creditor can directly sue the surety without suing the debtor. Because there is a contract. Yes, everyone, tell me. The contract between debtor and creditor has become time barred. Then the surety gave guarantee. Is the guarantee valid? Madhuram, I don't agree with your answer. Others, what about them? Yes. Not valid. Correct. It is not valid. Others. The guarantee was given after 3 years. After the debt became time barred. Is it valid? Kirtana, correct answer. No, it is not valid. Madhav, it's not valid. Okay, so in this case, the guarantee is not given for an enforceable debt. Guarantee is not valid. Correct answer. Shriniti, correct answer. Bubbly, correct answer. Komal, Ananya, correct answer. If the principal debtor has no, it is not an enforceable contract, the surety will be discharged. It is not discharged actually. The guarantee given is not valid. So guarantee can be given. Okay, we are talking about giving a guarantee only for an existing promise enforceable by law. So yes, Bubbly has written something. Guarantee must be given at the time of making the agreement. Correct. So guarantee must be given at the time of making the LOI. All the essential elements of a valid contract must be present. Yes, all the essential elements of a valid contract. So we need two parties, free consent, consideration. Let us discuss something about consideration. There is consideration between debtor and creditor. But what is the consideration for the surety? He is giving guarantee but not getting anything in return. Law says that the benefit received by the debtor is enough consideration for the surety. So surety, while giving the guarantee to the creditor, does not receive anything from the creditor. He is not receiving any consideration. But the benefit received by the debtor, मेरे promise की वजह से, मेरे guarantee की वजह से debtor को benefit मिला है, that is enough consideration for the surety. Okay, तो surety क्या बोलता है? मेरे guarantee की वजह से debtor को benefit मिला, that is enough consideration for the surety. So in case of consideration, even though there is no consideration for the surety, कोई money consideration तो नहीं है, but even then it is a valid contract. Benefit received by the debtor is enough consideration for the surety. There is another essential which is not required, that is minor. Sorry, debtor can be a minor. Okay, debtor can be minor. And ये तो मैंने आपके साथ discuss कर ही लिया, that benefit of the debtor is consideration for the surety. Now, debtor can be a minor. Okay, it's an interesting point. Discuss कर लेते हैं चलो. As I discussed with you, there are three agreements. One is the debtor and creditor. Other is creditor surety. Then we have debtor and surety. If I am allowing the debtor to be a minor, what will happen to the first agreement between the debtor and creditor? Yes, students, tell me. What will happen to the first agreement if the debtor is a minor? Will it be valid or will it be void? Answer. Participate karo. Yes. Surety cannot be minor. Agreed. Madhura, very good. Surety cannot be minor. Debtor can be minor. But surety cannot be minor. Creditor cannot be minor in this case. But yes, we have already studied in the Contract Act that minor can enter into contracts which are for his benefit. But here they are not allowing it in the, they are only allowing debtor to be a minor. Yes, very good. This is a void contract. Excellent answers. Okay, Ananya, no, it's void. It's with minor. Okay, in this contract between creditor and surety, do I have a minor? No, this is valid. Okay, in this case, again, debtor is a minor. This agreement will also be void. So what will happen if debtor is a minor? In case a debtor is a minor, creditor will not be able to recover money from the debtor because debtor is a minor, agreement is void. Creditor will directly go to the surety. Surety will have to pay because he has entered into a contract of guarantee. Surety will pay, but later on he cannot recover it from the minor debtor. So in this case, can I say that if the surety is giving a guarantee for a minor, it will be considered as if it is his personal guarantee? He will pay, but he will not be able to recover because debtor is a minor. So the surety will have to give guarantee for the minor only if he is ready to bear the liability. It will be considered as if it is his personal contract, it is his personal transaction. Surety will have to pay, but he will not be able to recover it from the debtor because agreement with debtor is void because debtor is a minor. No misrepresentation or concealment of facts by the creditor. This will make the guarantee invalid, and I have discussed invalid guarantee later. Let us go through that. Guarantee obtained by misrepresentation. I am misrepresenting the fact. It means I am giving false facts. Guarantee obtained by concealment. Concealment matlab silence. I am not giving out material facts. What is the difference between misrepresentation and concealment in this case? Here misrepresentation, it means I am representing. It means I am giving. I am saying something which is false, giving false facts. Whereas concealment means hiding material facts. This is the difference. We studied that misrepresentation okay. Madhuram, I did not understand what you said. Here there is Misrepresentation, it means he is representing false facts and we are assuming it is not innocently, something which we discussed in the Contract Act earlier. Here he is doing it knowingly. And here he is concealing certain facts knowingly. This is like fraud. So in these two cases, the guarantee is invalid. Now to give you an example, X requested Y to appoint Z as a cashier. Now Y knew that Z had misappropriated cash. He had written false accounts earlier, but he does not reveal those facts to X. He tells X that I will appoint Z as a cashier if you give guarantee. So X gave his guarantee in ignorance. He did not know that Z misappropriated cash earlier. Y hides that fact from X. Okay, so X gives guarantee, he acts as a surety in ignorance. Later, Z misappropriated cash. Now Y wants to hold X liable. My question is X liable? Is the guarantee valid? Yes, मधुराम, उसको कोई फायदा नहीं है गारंटी देने में, लेकिन फिर भी वो गारंटी दे देता है बिकॉज मुझे माइनर का फायदा करवाना था. लेट्स से माइनर बहुत ही केपेबल है, माइनर को अब्रॉड जाना था, तो मैं माइनर होते हुए भी उसके लिए गारंटी दे देती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि चल यार उसका फायदा होगा. मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं था कि वो डिफॉल्ट कर देगा, या भाई मुझे पता ही नहीं था वो माइनर है. ओके, सो इन दिस केस विल एक्स बी लायबल? मुझे बबली का आंसर आ गया. यस कीर्तना, वो पर्सनल कैपेसिटी में देगा, आप करेक्ट हो. X is not liable because you obtained his guarantee by concealing the facts. This is an invalid guarantee. X is not liable. Very good, students. Very good. Failure to join as co-surety, section 144. This is generally asked as a case-based question. Now, X wanted loan, so he went to the bank. बैंक बोलता है मैं तेरे को लोन दे दूंगा लेकिन मेरे को गारंटी चाहिए. So X went to Y. Y agreed to sign on the condition that Z also signs as co-surety. तो Y ने sign कर दिया ये शर्त पे that Z should also act as co-surety. Z did not sign. Is the guarantee given by Y valid? Tell me. Bubbly, here it will be concealment because I am not revealing proper facts. It is concealment. Misrepresentation, I have to say something. I have to give. Concealment में I'm hiding. There is silence. अच्छा. In this case, Y signs, but Z does not sign. Guarantee is invalid. Guarantee is invalid. Y is also not liable. So these are the circumstances where the guarantee is invalid. Yes, Satvik. Madhav, correct answer. It's invalid guarantee. Kavya, correct answer. It's not a valid guarantee. All sureties should join because that was the condition. That was the condition. Okay. Next, let us discuss the nature and extent of surety's liability, section 128. This can be asked as a theory question. It can be asked as a theory question. Surety's liability is coextensive with the liability of the principal debtor. In simple words, जितनी डेटर की liability उतनी ही surety की liability. If the debtor is liable for principal, interest, other expenses, similarly the surety is also liable for principal, interest and other expenses. जितनी debtor की liability उतनी ही surety की liability. But surety surety's liability may be limited by express contract. यहाँ पर express word is important. Now, the debtor had taken loan of rupees 5 lakh. S gives guarantee, but he says, hey bhai, I can't give 5 lakhs. Huh? I will give guarantee only for 3 lakhs. The guarantee of the surety can be made less by an agreement. So in case of debtor's default, the surety will be liable only for 3 lakhs. For the remaining, debtor is liable. Surety's liability may be conditional. Now, I am repeating the same example. X took loan from the bank on the condition that he finds a surety. He went to Y. Y agreed to join as co-surety on the condition that Z should also join as co-surety. Y signed but Z did not sign. The condition was not satisfied. Guarantee becomes invalid guarantee. Okay, guarantee becomes invalid because the condition was not satisfied. So sometimes a surety may impose certain conditions that I will be liable if this condition is satisfied. If the condition is not satisfied, then the surety is not liable. Surety's liability continues even if the debtor has not been sued or is omitted from being sued. Someone over here mentioned that the creditor can file a case directly against the surety without suing the debtor. Yes, I agree. Because मेरा contract है surety के साथ, I can file a case directly against the surety without suing the debtor. Surety मना नहीं कर सकता. वो ट्राई जरूर करेगा बिकॉज ही फियर्स कि अरे अगर डेटर नहीं पैसा देगा तो मेरे को देना पड़ेगा. बट क्रेडिटर कैन सू द श्योरिटी डायरेक्टली विदाउट सुइंग द डेटर. क्रेडिटर श्योरिटी कैन नॉट रिफ्यूज कि अरे तू डेटर के पास पहले जा फिर मेरे पास आ. हमारा तुम्हारे साथ भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. वी कैन सू डायरेक्टली, वी कैन सू द श्योरिटी डायरेक्टली. Discharge of surety. In these cases, the surety is discharged. Please note one thing, students. Discharge वो तब होता है when the things are happening without his consent. अगर उसके consent से changes हो रहे हैं तो फिर तो वो liable रहेगा ना. He is liable because the things are happening without his consent. ये बहुत important है, ये याद रखना है. Surety क्यों discharge है? Because changes are happening without his consent. अच्छा, सबसे पहले तो discharge may be by revocation. Revocation कैसे होगा? Revocation may be by notice or it may be by death. Please note, students, that section number is very important. Section 130 and section 131. This is generally asked as a case-based questions. Case-based questions are generally asked on this. Case-based questions, section 130 and section 131. मैंने गारंटी दी थी, फिर मैंने रिवोक कर ली, गारंटी खत्म, आई एम डिस्चार्ज. ओके. डेथ ऑफ श्योरिटी. श्योरिटी ने गारंटी दी, देन ही डाइज, श्योरिटी इज डिस्चार्ज. नाउ टेल मी स्टूडेंट्स, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है आपके लिए. टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट इज श्योरिटी लायबल इन केस ऑफ दिस रिवोकेशन बाय नोटिस और बाय डेथ? इज ही लायबल फॉर ट्रांजैक्शंस बिफोर रिवोकेशन? इज ही लायबल फॉर ट्रांजैक्शंस बिफोर डेथ? Or is he liable for transactions even afterwards? Tell me. Debtor, creditor and surety. ये debtor है, ये creditor है और ये surety है. Surety gave the guarantee, then he revoked. या फिर surety gave the guarantee, then he died. You have to tell me what is his liability. For which transactions is the surety liable in these cases? Very good, Kirtana. You were the first one to answer. He is liable only for the transactions before revocation or death. Will the legal representative, will the estate, will the surety be liable for transactions after revocation or after death? No. Yes, very good, Kavya. Before death, up to the extent he has promised. Kirtana, not liable for subsequent transactions. Ananya, liable for before revocation, before death. Yes, before death. Acha, one more question. Okay, please pay attention to the question. Surety died. Okay, surety died. In this case, we discussed that he is liable for transactions before death. Now, before death, the transactions were of rupees 50,000. Are you understanding? Surety died. You told me that he is liable for transactions before death. Before death, the transactions were of rupees 50,000. He died and his estate was worth only rupees 40,000. So to what extent is the legal representative liable? This is my question. This is my question. To what extent is the legal representative liable? 50,000, the transactions before death, or legal representative is liable only for 40,000? You have to tell me. Very good, Kavya. You were the first one to answer. he is liable only up to rupees 40,000. Yes, Satvik, very good. Kirthana, bubbly, excellent. Ananya, very good. He is liable only for 40,000. He is liable only for the amount in of estate. Yes, he's the legal representative. Can I tell the legal representative, you pay 10,000 from your personal funds? It's not his personal liability. He is liable only to the extent of estate. Okay, revocation applies to future transactions only. It means that surety continues to be liable for the transactions before revocation or before death. Revocation may be, discharge may be by novation. I am entering into a new contract in place of the original without consulting the surety. Surety is discharged. You are entering into a new contract without consulting the surety. What is novation? Entering into a new contract in place of the original. We have not consulted the surety. He is discharged. Variance, super duper important for exam. Maximum case-based questions are asked on section 133. You have to remember the section number. Maximum case-based questions are asked. Variance. I changed the terms of the agreement without consulting the surety. I changed the rate of interest. I changed the terms of loan. I brought in some other surety. I have made some material changes, material alterations in the terms of the contract. He is discharged. But again, he will be discharged only for the transactions after variance, after the change. He will continue to remain liable for the transactions incurred before change. Yes? Satvik, revocation applies only to future transactions. Now let's say, for example, that debtor and creditor, okay? Creditor promised to give the debtor loan. In this case, creditor promised to give the debtor loan up to rupees 5 lakhs. Okay, he promised to give loan up to rupees 5 lakhs. तो creditor ने पहले 1 lakh दिया. Then he gave another 1 lakh. Then the surety said, भाई बस अभी मैं और liable नहीं रहूंगा. जैसे ही surety notice दे देता है, उसकी liability खत्म. But he will be liable for the transactions before notice, before revocation. He is liable for 2 lakhs which was already given before he revoked. हाँ, अब अगर रिवोकेशन के बावजूद क्रेडिटर ने फिर से 1 लाख का लोन दिया डेटर को, फॉर दैट द श्योरिटी इज नॉट लायबल. तो रिवोकेशन के बाद के ट्रांजैक्शंस के लिए श्योरिटी इज नॉट लायबल. उसने बोल दिया ना कि मेरी लायबिलिटी खत्म, उसके बाद भी अगर क्रेडिटर डेटर को पैसा देते रहता है, देन द श्योरिटी इज नॉट लायबल. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फ्यूचर ट्रांजैक्शंस. So discharge for transactions subsequent to the variance, मतलब after variance. But he will be liable for the changes before variance. ठीक है. अच्छा, ये आपके मॉड्यूल में है. Party will not be discharged if the variance is not substantial or beneficial to the surety. मैंने interest rate in fact कम कर दिया, तो ये तो surety के फायदे के लिए हो गया. Then the surety is not discharged. Okay, these are the circumstances again for acts which are without his consent. Continuation है section 134. Release or discharge of the debtor. अरे simple है यार. Debtor, creditor and surety. Creditor is discharging the debtor. मतलब वो debtor को बोल रहा है, अरे तेरे को तेरा promise fulfill करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्या बात कर रहे हो. Debtor discharge हो गया, इसका मतलब तो श्योरिटी भी डिस्चार्ज होगा. अगर डेटर ही नहीं लायबल है तो श्योरिटी भी लायबल नहीं होगा ना. अच्छा, हाउ कैन वी रिलीज द डेटर? कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज मेड बाय द क्रेडिटर रिलीजिंग द डेटर. अच्छा, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कैसे होगा ये देखो. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं. आई जस्ट इरेज दिस. अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज मेड रिलीजिंग द डेटर. नाउ एग्जाम्पल. Debtor promised to construct a house for the creditor. Creditor promised that उसका जो timber है, wood है, वो मैं ही लेके आऊंगा. Creditor promised to bring the timber. Then the creditor said, अरे यार मेरे को timber मिल ही नहीं रहा है, मैं सोचता हूँ मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा ये हाउस. अरे तू छोड़ रहे, तू जा, मैंने मेरा माइंड चेंज कर दिया. आई डोंट वांट यू टू बिल्ड द हाउस. जो timber मुझे चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रहा है. So the creditor is telling the debtor not to construct the house. Debtor is discharged, surety is also discharged. By act, okay, debtor is released because of the act of the creditor. Now in this case, debtor promised to grow wheat for the creditor. Okay, उसने बोला मैं तेरे लिए wheat grow करूंगा. But the creditor diverted the stream of water required to irrigate the land. अब जब तक पानी नहीं मिलेगा तब तक डेटर वीट कैसे ग्रो करेगा? और ये क्यों नहीं ग्रो कर पाया? ये डेटर अपना प्रॉमिस क्यों नहीं फुलफिल कराया? ये क्रेडिटर के एक्ट की वजह से. डेटर बोलता है भाई मुझे जाने दे, आई एम डिस्चार्ज, ऑटोमेटिकली द श्योरिटी इज ऑल्सो डिस्चार्ज. ओमिशन का एग्जाम्पल कर लेते हैं. ओमिशन, ओके, ओमिशन. नाउ सेम एग्जाम्पल वो टिम्बर वाला लेते हैं. डेटर प्रॉमिस टू कंस्ट्रक्ट अ हाउस फॉर द क्रेडिटर. क्रेडिटर ने बोला मैं तेरे को टिम्बर लाके दूंगा. 1 हफ्ता हो गया, 2 हफ्ता हो गया, 4 हफ्ते हो गए, अभी तक टिम्बर लाया ही नहीं है उसने. ओमिशन ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ क्रेडिटर. और मना भी तो नहीं कर रहा है. एटलीस्ट पहले उसने मना कर दिया था, अरे तू मत बना घर. इधर तो मना भी नहीं कर रहा है. क्रेडिटर ओमिट्स, फेल्स टू सप्लाई द टिम्बर. डेटर इज डिस्चार्ज कि भाई मेरे को तेरे लिए काम नहीं करना है, मैं कितना वेट करूं तेरी. डेटर इज डिस्चार्ज, श्योरिटी इज ऑल्सो डिस्चार्ज. Discharge by arrangement, when debtor and creditor compound, that is settle the amount. Now debtor had to pay 50,000 rupees to the creditor. He is not paying the amount. So creditor came, he took debtor's laptop and said settlement हो गई. In this case आपने उसका laptop ले लिया and you are compounding, you are settling the amount. Debtor is discharged, surety is automatically discharged. If the creditor promises to give more time to the debtor, here you have to write it is understood, it is implied at the request of debtor. This is very important, students. At the request of debtor. Now in this case, the creditor is giving more time to the debtor at the debtor's request. Surety is saying, if you're giving him more time, you recover it from the debtor only. I am discharged. You gave him more time without asking me. Where the creditor promises not to sue the debtor. Arey, if you're not going to file case against the debtor, it means debtor is discharged, surety is also discharged. By impairing the creditor's eventual remedy. If the creditor acts in a manner which is inconsistent with the rights of the surety, which harms or impairs, that is weakens the surety's eventual remedy, then in this case we are discharged. Now what is the difference between section 134 and section 139? See students, in section 134, first the debtor is discharged and because of that the surety is discharged. Okay, in case of section 134, I'll just erase because there is a lot of text. In section 134, which we discussed, by release or discharge of the debtor, first the debtor is discharged and eventually because of that the surety is also discharged. But in this case, the surety is automatically discharged. So when will that happen? When the creditor does something which is inconsistent with the rights of the surety, or he impairs or harms the eventual remedy of the surety. Let us discuss this with the help of an example. The debtor promised to construct a ship and the creditor told him that I will pay you whenever you construct a floor, okay, of the ship. But the creditor prepays the last 2 installments. Last 2 installments उसने पहले ही दे दी. अभी कौन सा डेटर है जो पैसा मिलने के बाद कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा करेगा? The last 2 installments are prepaid. Debtor ran away. Can I hold the surety liable? Arey, who asked you to prepay? You have now impaired the surety's right, no? Who asked you to prepay? It is your fault. The debtor is discharged. He left, he ran away. The surety is also discharged. Loss of security, again, is mostly asked as a case-based question. Let us understand this with the help of an example first. The debtor, along with given guarantee, had also given the creditor some asset like furniture. So let's say, for example, that debtor gives guarantee of the surety and he also gives asset like furniture, or it may be he may give stock. If the creditor loses the furniture or without the consent of the surety parts with it. Now, the creditor lost the furniture, or the creditor told the debtor, I don't want this furniture, I'm happy with the guarantee given by the surety. In this case, what if debtor defaults? Surety will tell the creditor, you are a fool. The debtor was giving you furniture. You parted with that, or you lost the furniture. You did all this without my consent. I am discharged to the extent of value of that asset. So let's say that the creditor lost furniture worth rupees 20,000 and the surety had given guarantee for 50,000. So surety will tell the creditor, अरे तूने मेरे से बिना पूछे ये सब पार्ट कर दिया या तूने गुमा दिया. मैं मानूंगा कि तुझे 20,000 मिल गए. My liability will be reduced by 20,000. So I will be now liable only for 30,000. This is covered under section 141, loss of security. But there are certain circumstances where the surety is not discharged. Section 136. More time is given to the debtor on request of the third party. See students, it is important to know, you can write it in your notebook. If more time is given, okay, more time is given to debtor at the request of debtor, then the surety is discharged because more time was given at the request of the debtor. But if more time was given at the request of third party, then the surety is not discharged because more time was given to the debtor at the request of some third party, not the debtor. Mere forbearance to sue the of the creditor to sue the debtor does not discharge the surety. Again, very important for 1 or 2 mark question. Just because I have not filed case against the debtor doesn't mean the surety is discharged. Now, the creditor had not filed case against the debtor even after 1 year of the debt. Doesn't mean that the surety should start enjoying. Arey, maybe the creditor forgot. It has been 1 year. Creditor has time of 3 years. वो 3 साल तक केस कर सकता. तू ज़्यादा खुश मत हो. Just because he has not filed case against the debtor doesn't mean कि वो तेरे ऊपर केस नहीं कर सकता. You are still liable. Omission of the creditor to sue the debtor within the period of limitation will not discharge the surety. अच्छा, the creditor did not file case against the debtor और 3 साल निकल गए, टाइम बार्ड हो गया. अरे मेन डेट टाइम बार्ड हुआ है, क्रेडिटर और श्योरिटी का डेट टाइम बार्ड थोड़ी ना हुआ है. ये तो वैलिड है. It means the surety will be liable to pay even if the main debt becomes time barred. मेरा जो surety है ना, उसने पे कर दिया. Can he later recover money from the debtor? Yes. देखो, there are 3 agreements between debtor, creditor, surety, creditor, surety and debtor. This debt has become time barred, but other debts वो तो वैलिड है. डेट टाइम बार्ड होता है ना, डेट. यस, ओनली द डेट कैन बी टाइम बार्ड एंड द डेट एग्जिस्ट्स बिटवीन डेटर एंड क्रेडिटर. देयर इज नो डेट बिटवीन क्रेडिटर श्योरिटी, डेटर श्योरिटी. देयर इज नो डेट ओवर हियर. दैट इज व्हाई दिस रिमेन्स वैलिड. Yes, Santosh Kumar, this will be later available for reference. Recording will be available. But in case you wish to purchase the fast track lectures, the chart book from which we are studying, I will share the link again with you. Please visit my website theorymasterslearning.com. And you can purchase the fast track lectures, chart book, compiler which contains all the past exam study material, RTP, MTP questions. Okay, release of one co-surety will not release the other co-surety. We discussed invalid guarantee. Rights of surety. Now, surety has a contract with both debtor as well as creditor. That is why he will have right against both. Let us discuss the rights against the debtor. Surety is right against the debtor. He has a right of subrogation. Subrogation means to step in the shoes of the other person. So surety will first act as a surety. Okay. He will first act as a surety. Now let me write over here. Creditor, debtor and surety. What is the meaning of right to subrogation? Subrogation means to step into the shoes of the other person. In case the debtor defaults, creditor will first recover money from the surety. So surety is acting like a surety and paying money. Then I informed you that after paying, he can recover money from the debtor. It means that after paying, the surety changes his role from surety. He becomes a creditor and he can recover that money from the debtor. So whatever money he has paid on behalf of the debtor can be recovered from him. Bubbly, we are only going to cover indemnity and guarantee. After that, I will stop. So I'm left with only rights of co-surety. That's the last part. Right to be indemnified. See, whatever money surety has paid, he can later recover it from the debtor. So he has the right to recover whatever amount he has rightfully paid for the debtor. Surety has a contract with creditor, so he has rights against the creditor. He has a right to securities held by the creditor. I discussed this earlier with you. He has a right to claim set off. Now listen, very interesting. The creditor has to recover 50,000 rupees from the debtor. And due to some other business transaction, he has to pay 10,000 rupees to the debtor. So what will be the best scenario? That you have to receive 50,000 and you have to pay. Yes, Satvik, tomorrow also 7 o'clock. So you have to receive, you have to pay to the same person. So best is to receive only 40,000. Now this is set off. If you are giving the benefit of set off to the debtor, similar benefit will have to be given to the surety also. So surety's liability will also be reduced to 40,000. The last part of today's lecture, right of co-sureties. I'm left with a question answer discussion, but then I can do that tomorrow. We will start with the revision. We will revise the question answers. Okay, now, right against the co-surety. Very, very, very important for case-based questions. Suddenly, ICAI has realized that this is one part on which we have never asked questions. So they have now started asking questions on this. Right against the co-sureties. Now, let's say that I have a creditor and debtor. Debtor has given more than one surety. So let's say that A, B and D, they have all given guarantee. All three are co-sureties. Law says, for me all are equal. For me all are equal. Thank you so much, Satvik. But if you want कि हम और अच्छे से इसको करें, you can purchase my fast track lectures. उसमें हमने everything detail में with examples और animations के साथ किया है. तो fast track lectures भी जरूर check करना. Okay. Now, right of the co-sureties. Co-sureties are equally liable because हमारे लिए सारे equal है. तो लेट्स से कि डेटर ने श्योरिटीज की गारंटी दी थी 30,000 की. ईच विल बी लायबल फॉर 10,000, ठीक है, सब्जेक्ट टू द मैक्सिमम। जैसे ए ने बोला भाई देखो मैं तो मैक्सिमम 10,000 दूंगा, बी बोलता है मैं तो मैक्सिमम 5,000 ही दूंगा, तो उसका जो डेफिसिट है वो बाकी लोग बेयर कर देंगे। अच्छा, उनकी राइट क्या है? अगर ए ने अपनी तो लायबिलिटी पे की लेकिन किसी और की भी दे दी तो वो उससे कंट्रीब्यूशन रिकवर कर सकते हैं। एंड अगर कोई को श्योरिटी को मैंने सिक्योरिटी दी, अब ए को मैंने सिक्योरिटी दी, बी और डी को इसके बारे में पता ही नहीं था, इवन देन बी एंड डी विल गेट टू एंजॉय दैट सिक्योरिटी, क्योंकि हमारे लिए तो सब इक्वल है। तो जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था ना, फर्नीचर दिया था सिक्योरिटी, क्रेडिटर ने घुमा दिया, तो तीनों की लायबिलिटी उतने उतने से कम हो जाएगी, बिकॉज फॉर अस एवरीवन इज इक्वल। क्वेश्चंस मुझे लगता है कर लेते हैं सो दैट यू गेट एन आइडिया। मेरे पास रेडी है इसीलिए मैं आपको बोलूँ, दिस इज माई कंपाइलर। इन दिस आई हैव ऑल पास्ट एग्जाम स्टडी मटेरियल, आरटीबी क्वेश्चंस, मैंने सब कुछ चैप्टर वाइज अरेंज किया है। तो आपका मेथड क्या होना चाहिए? थ्योरी पढ़ो, क्वेश्चन करो, थ्योरी पढ़ो, क्वेश्चन करो, चार्ट बुक में से थ्योरी करो, नोट्स में से करो, लेक्चर्स में से करो, कहीं से भी करो, आपको आके कंपाइलर के क्वेश्चंस तो करने ही है, कंपल्सरीली करने हैं। मैंने ना 3 क्वेश्चंस आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं, लेट्स सी कि आप उसको आंसर कर सकते हो कि नहीं। मैंने क्वेश्चन 4, 5 और 16 को आइडेंटिफाई किया है एज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर एग्जाम। क्वेश्चन 4 में क्या है देखते हैं, चलो। मिस्टर डी वॉज इन अर्जेंट नीड ऑफ मनी अमाउंटिंग टू ₹5 lakhs, ठीक है, ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है। नहीं सात्विक, कंपाइलर आपको परचेज करना पड़ेगा फ्रॉम माय वेबसाइट, बट उसका डिस्काउंट कूपन है, आपको वो डिस्काउंट हो जाएगा। मेहनत है, मेहनत का पैसा है, जो फ्री में दे सकते हैं वो तो डेफिनेटली हम हेल्प करेंगे ही, बट ये सब चीज़ों में मेहनत डाली है उसी का है, ठीक है। नाउ डी वॉज इन अर्जेंट नीड ऑफ मनी, so he asked K for the money. K lent money on the surety of A, B and N. Recently मैंने नोटिस किया है, yes, बबली के पास कंपाइलर है, वो तो बहुत उसमें से ही करती है, और चार्ट बुक में से she has covered everything from that. Okay, तो यहाँ पर they were co-sureties, there was no contract between them. D makes a default, B बोलता है मैं contribute ही नहीं करूँगा. Can B escape liability? बबली आई आंसर्ड नो, वील कवर्ड ओनली इंडेमनिटी गारंटी टुडे। हो गया, ये 3 क्वेश्चंस है, लास्ट है। यस एवरीवन टेल मी, बी इज रिफ्यूजिंग टू कंट्रीब्यूट। सात्विक, it is hard copy, so you will have to purchase it from the website. Soft copy, open copy is not available. Yes, tell me, यहाँ पर क्या लायबिलिटी होगी? क्या लायबिलिटी होगी को श्योरिटी की? विल ही बी लायबल? कैन बी से नहीं नहीं मैं तो लायबल नहीं हूं? क्या लायबिलिटी होगी? टेल मी, हु विल आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन। देखो कितनी बार आया है, 4 बार आ चुका है ये क्वेश्चन। कंपाइलर का यही फायदा है, ट्रेंड पता चलता है कौन सा क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट है। So in this case, A, B and N, he cannot escape the liability. Very good बबली, इक्वली लायबल है सब लोग, कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है, सब इक्वली लायबल है, दे आर ऑल इक्वली लायबल, सो बी कैनॉट एस्केप द लायबिलिटी। देखो दिस इज द आंसर गिवन बाय ICAI, सेक्शन 146 लिखा है उन्होंने। सबसे पहले थ्योरी एक्सप्लेन की है, सो दिस इज द थ्योरी, ओके, दिस इज द थ्योरी, देन दे हैव रिटन द सॉल्यूशन। ये 2 या 3 मार्क्स के लिए आएगा। ऑल दे आर लायबल टू पे द अमाउंट इक्वली इन एब्सेंस ऑफ एनी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, तो तीनों इक्वली लायबल है। यस बबली बोलो। अदर्स, रीड क्वेश्चन 5, रीड क्वेश्चन 5, ये भी बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली आता है, सेक्शन 133। Chetan was appointed as a site manager of ABC Constructions Company on a 2 years contract on a monthly salary. Pawan gave the guarantee. So Pawan is surety. After 6 months, the company was not in a position to pay 50,000 rupees. चेतन agreed for a lower salary. Immediately आपके माइंड में आना चाहिए उसकी सैलरी वो कम कर देता है 6 महीने के बाद. ये तो वरायंस है, सेक्शन 133. सो इन दिस केस श्योरिटी को हमने पूछा ही नहीं, उसकी सैलरी कम कर दी, वरायंस है ये तो. This is not communicated to Pawan. 3 months afterwards, it was discovered that Chetan has been doing fraud since the time of his appointment. What is the liability of Pawan? कितनी liability है उसकी बताओ, कितने महीनों के लिए वो liable है? अमाउंट तो कैलकुलेट कर ही नहीं सकते, टाइम पीरियड बताओ. He has been misappropriating since the amount of since he was appointed. तो कितने महीनों के मिसअप्रोप्रिएशन के लिए विल ही बी लायबल? श्योरिटी विल बी लायबल फॉर द मिसअप्रोप्रिएशंस ड्यूरिंग दोस 6 मंथ्स. 6 मंथ्स के बाद जैसे ही वरायंस हो गया, यस बबली वेरी गुड, फॉर द फर्स्ट 6 मंथ्स. 6 मंथ्स के बाद जैसे ही वरायंस हो जाता है, ही इज नॉट लायबल बिकॉज द वरायंस टुक प्लेस विदाउट हिज कंसेंट. तो सेक्शन 133 के प्रोविजंस हम लिखेंगे. Yes, so he will be liable till 6 months. So first you will write down the provisions. Then you will discuss facts of the case. तो सबसे पहले provisions आएंगे, फिर आएगा facts of the case, फिर हमारा analysis आएगा that he will be liable for the first 6 months, and last में हमारा आएगा conclusion. So this is the manner in which we will write the answer. Correct, everyone, correct answer. अच्छा, और मैंने एक आइडेंटिफाई किया था, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर एग्जाम, ये रहा 16. ये देखो, क्वेश्चन पढ़ते पढ़ते आपको नोट्स कैसे बनाने हैं. दिस ऑल्सो वी टीच इन द लेक्चर्स, जो हमारे फुल कोर्स रेगुलर लेक्चर्स हैं, कि क्वेश्चन पढ़ते पढ़ते कैसे नोट्स बनाएं. देखो, सुरेंद्र गारंटीज वीरेंद्र फॉर द ट्रांजैक्शंस टू बी डन बिटवीन वीरेंद्र एंड जितेंद्र. मतलब श्योरिटी, Surendra is the surety, Virendra is the creditor, Jitendra is the debtor. सबसे पहले तो पार्टीज आइडेंटिफाई कर ली मैंने. Virendra supplied goods of 30,000 on 1st of March. 3rd March को उसने 20,000 के गुड्स दिए. On 5th March surety died. उसके बाद भी क्रेडिटर ने, उसको पता ही नहीं था डेथ के बारे में, उसके बाद भी क्रेडिटर ने 40,000 के गुड्स दिए. क्वेश्चन पूछता है, आर द लीगल एयर्स लायबल फॉर एंटायर 90,000? आपको बताना है. डेथ हो गई 5th को. टेल मी व्हाट इज द लायबिलिटी ऑफ द लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, बताओ. लाइबिलिटी क्या है? 90,000 या कुछ और? कितनी लाइबिलिटी है? ओनली 50,000. यस सात्विक, ओनली 50,000. अरे लेकिन उसको एस्टेट मिला ही सिर्फ 45,000 का, बताओ. तो अभी उसकी कितनी लाइबिलिटी हो गई? लेकिन उसको एस्टेट मिला, ये सेकंड क्वेश्चन है. एस्टेट ही गॉट एस्टेट वर्थ ओनली 45,000. तो अब उसकी क्या लायबिलिटी है बोलो? $45,000. जितना एस्टेट उतनी उसकी लायबिलिटी, जितना एस्टेट उतनी ही उसकी लायबिलिटी. तो 45,000 इफ द एस्टेट इज वर्थ ओनली 45,000. तो पहले थ्योरी लिखेंगे, फॉर्मेट हमारा सेम है. पहले थ्योरी, देन डिस्कस फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस, ऑफर सोल्यूशन, एंड लास्ट में कंक्लूजन. ठीक है स्टूडेंट्स, तो चलो आज के लिए इतना ही. आई होप यू एंजॉयड द लेक्चर. कल हम बेलमेंट एंड प्लेज दोनों कवर करेंगे. ओके, सो आई विल सी यू टुमारो. विजिट माय वेबसाइट theorymasterslearning.com फॉर फास्ट ट्रैक लेक्चर्स. so that you cover everything in record time. उसके साथ आपको full course book भी मिलेगी, and regular lectures are also available. Compiler is available, chartbook is available on my website, so do visit my website theorymasterslearning.com. Tomorrow I will meet you again at 7 PM. कल एक टाइम टेबल भी पोस्ट कर दूंगी वेबसाइट पे और व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे, सो यू विल कम टू नो कि कौन से डे पे हम क्या टॉपिक डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. बाय बाय, गुड नाइट एवरीवन. आई एम एंडिंग द स्ट्रीम हियर. आई विल सी यू टुमारो एट 7. आपके फ्रेंड्स को भी जरूर बोलना कि हम रिविजन कर रहे हैं. पास ऑन द मैसेज, शेयर दिस वीडियो, टेल योर फ्रेंड्स ऑल्सो about the revision lectures. Let many benefit from this. और जाने से पहले thumbs up, like जरूर करना है इस वीडियो को. ओके, फटाफट लाइक कर दो. चलो एवरीवन लाइक करो so that I know that you enjoyed the lecture. Good night and I'll see you all tomorrow at 7 PM. Again lectures will be in English. WhatsApp group, yes सात्विक, I will leave a link in the description. ये वीडियो में आपको बाद में आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हो, इसके डिस्क्रिप्शन में मैं लिंक छोड़ दूंगी. ओके